So I have with me Dr. Liela Groenewald. She's a sociologist, and we're talking about Thuli Madonsela's comment last week. She said that all of us are actually racist, and she explained it at the Suidoosterfees festival, talking at the Jakes Gerwel conversation series. And to make more sense of this and ask if it is true, I asked Liela to come and give us some answers. So Liela, the question then, are we really all racist?
Well, Isaac, it's not a very simple question because, I mean, there's quite a lot of debate about our nature, isn't there, at the moment with the famous Rutger Bregman book, Humankind, making an argument about all of our natures being kind. So if you look at Thuli Madonsela's comments, she said a couple of things. She spoke about it being in our DNS to be racist, so that would mean human nature. But she also spoke about our history as South Africans. So that would come closer to the sociological concept of racism, race as a social construct, and all of us being socialized in a society to be racist. So I think it's quite an amazing thing that she's done. If you look at the context of where she was speaking, she's speaking to young people. She was asked to say, what wisdom would you like to share with somebody who's 21 years old? What do you wish you knew when you were 21? So she's speaking to young people, and that's a generation that often doesn't, is not familiar of their own accord with what went down under apartheid and how the struggle worked in South Africa. So she's speaking to young people, and she's saying, let's recognize all the sides. Let's not do blaming and shaming only in one direction. So I think she's actually demonstrating that amazing leadership that we've come to be accustomed to from Thuli Madonsela. And she's giving a very strong message at a very critical time when people are abusing the label of racist to get away with particular crimes. And she's saying, let's stand together and all of us examine ourselves and keep on doing the hard work to move away from a difficult history. So against that kind of background, I think I have to agree with her wholeheartedly.
So Liela, talk us through it. What do we have to understand about race and racism to understand what Thuli said and not run away with what she said?
Okay, so, well, I think the first thing to understand is that race is not natural. We don't have innate abilities or inclinations based on skin color, hair color, religion, or whatever. In all groups of people, we get people who are inclined in different ways. Now, the book I was referring to, Rutger Bregman, is trying to make an argument to say that the progressive thing for us would be to believe that humans are actually inclined to be kind to one another, to accept one another. And there's this overwhelming evidence in history of warmongering and looking after an in-group, over and out group, and so on, that would encourage us to believe differently. So that's why I'm saying she's saying something slightly complicated, because she's not quite making it clear to us that she's talking about human nature as such. As, you know, if you are a human being not raised in society, would you be inclined to be racist the first time you met somebody, say, of a different skin color or language or ethnicity? However, race can be defined, because it's defined in many different ways in different places and times at different times. But she's also talking about our specific South African history. And as a sociologist, we pay attention to the way that people are taught to live in a society. And in a South African society, it would be hard for anybody to grow up, come into adulthood, come of age, without absorbing some of the many negative race attitudes that are going around in our society all of the time, and that we have structurally embedded in one of the strongest racist systems that the world has seen. So she's taking a position which is, I think it's a very reconciliatory position, and she's taking us back to a project where one can say the dream of 1994, the ideal of the leaders of the transitional period, Nelson Mandela, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, etc., who spoke of the Rainbow Nation, young people often view that as a lie that's being sold to them. And she's taking us back and saying, but that's not a gift. That's not something you receive on a platter. That's something that takes lots of hard work because of the history that we come from. So it's an encouragement to people to stand up and do the hard work, and also to realize that finger pointing is not the correct way to do that hard work. That self-examination is a more likely way to achieve that path going forward. That's my reading of her comments.
So talking about the reconciliatory characteristic of what she said, and you said this just now, the finger pointing. This doesn't give you a weapon on any side to say, I told you so. There, Thuli said it. You're a racist as well.
No, it's a powerful call to self-reflection, self-examination, and the work that different people, individuals, and groups need to do on themselves in order to be able to move forward from our racist history.
She said a very interesting thing about victimhood as well, where she said that you cannot use victimhood to the benefit of a society. And if you give power to a victim, you are actually doing something very bad. Talk us through that statement of Thuli.
Well, her comments are wonderfully nuanced. She's very careful of blaming a particular group or saying a particular group would not be cut out to hold power. She didn't say it always happens. She says it can often happen that when you give a victim power, they want to be vengeful rather than look for justice for all. And that should be our aim, to look for justice for all. She's being very careful. She certainly would not say that the victims of apartheid cannot lead now. She's certainly not making a kind of statement that would exclude certain groups of people or victims from offering leadership. She's asking all of us to begin by examining ourselves and what contribution we can make by moving forward. It's a very powerful call to self-reflection is how I understand it.